Carol. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I look a little crazy hair, weird background. This is actually a painting that I did. But I've tried to film this since like 5 o'clock this evening, and it's probably like midnight right now. Just keep having issues, so we're just gonna get right into it. And sorry it's taken me 11 days to upload a video in this new year, but hey, we're here right now. So happy 2019 to you guys. I hope you have a great and wonderful year. Today I'm just gonna do a really quick video of kind of like mini conspiracy theories. It's not enough to do like one video per subject, so I just kind of bunch them together. And today I'm going to do 5 celebrity conspiracy theories. So let's just get right into it. The first one is Lindsay Lohan. The theory is that she actually had a twin named Kelsey who died after they filmed The Parent Trap, and Disney and her parents actually decided to cover it up due to the release of the movie. So again, real quick, all these are just theories. I'm not saying any of this is true. This is just theories swarming around the internet that you can find yourself, and I'm just putting it out there for a little informative video. I just find it interesting. So the 2 girls, say 2 because we don't know, look really different if you really look at them in the movie. And I'll try and insert a picture here, but I know that like their hair's, well, her hair is different, but it's just so weird. Even watching that movie, like even now and as a kid, it seems like 2 different girls, and they actually look different side by side. They have different noses, different ears. It's just really crazy. And it doesn't seem that like CGI and special effects in that movie could have been done with the technology that they had back in the 90s. I think it was like 97 when the movie came out. And like I said, they literally like hug and like interact in the movie. It's so weird, and it really seems like it's 2 girls. In 2006, Lindsay Lohan was actually in a horror film called I Know Who Killed Me, and it was about a girl who had a twin that was murdered. So that's a little weird. It could also be like a secret twin that maybe this Kelsey didn't want to be like in the limelight, so maybe she's just off living her own life, doing her own thing, and you never know. But it said that if her sister did die, especially a twin, that maybe this is what sent Lindsay Lohan into like her big downward spiral that we all witnessed all over the news in the 2000s. So you never know. So Britney Spears. This one's a little long. I'm going to talk a little bit fast so I can get through it, but it's pretty crazy when I get to the last part of it. So the theory is that her voice is fake and she possibly doesn't sing her own songs. Also, people think, so this is weird, but once I read you guys like the evidence or the coincidences, you might just have an open mind. But people think that maybe Britney Spears was used as a public distraction during the Bush presidency. So I'll get more into that in a minute. But it's known that her real singing voice is actually really low. I'll try and insert a clip of her singing when she was little. It's really, really low and deep. There's a video that she posted on Instagram, which I'll also insert that, of her singing. And it looks like really jumpy, like it like looks like there's jump cuts. And the sound, it just seems like too high pitched for actual singing. So someone actually took the clip, slowed it down, and when they did that, the video actually seems smooth and stopped jumping, and her voice actually sounds like normal, like that's possibly what her voice sounds like. Only fools are rushing. Oh no, but I can't tell. Falling in love with you. Wise men say only fools are rushing. Oh no, but I can't tell. Falling in love with you. So people theorize that her record company or whoever is in charge of her has her sing but speeds up her voice to give her that like Britney style baby voice, and she's admitted that she doesn't sing live, so that could be why. It's also, oh, and also on her episode of Carpool Karaoke with James Corden, she's like the only person that's been on there that actually doesn't like sing along. And when she does, her voice is really deep. This may sound crazy, but the evidence is pretty convincing. So Britney was a huge Bush supporter, even though at the time most celebs were completely against him because of him going to war with Iraq. Britney spoke highly about him and how she supported him and everything he did. So people think that the Bush administration actually used her as a public distraction. So here's a list of coincidences. In March 2003, Bush announces the beginning of Operation Iraqi Freedom and the very controversial Iraq War. That same month, Britney Spears begins taking over the news. She begins partying, hanging out with like Paris Hilton and other socialites, and this is like when she really began her like taking over the news media and her kind of downward spiral, I guess. January of 2004, a top Bush official lands himself in a huge scandal after blowing the cover of an elite CIA agent, leading to the indictment of the officer and a lot of other controversy. That same day of the indictment, Britney rushes off to Vegas to marry a childhood friend and has her infamous 55-hour-long marriage. October of 2004, it's announced that the death toll of soldiers killed in the war in Iraq had gone over 1,000. The day before this is announced, Britney Spears marries her backup dancer Kevin Federline. In April of 2006, Bush's approval rating hits an all-time low, yet major news headlines are taken over by the news that Britney Spears was caught driving with her infant son on her lap. November 2006, the day before the midterm election where Republicans were threatened with losing by a lot, Spears announces her split from Kevin Federline. February 2007, the day that Bush announced that Al-Qaeda had reformed, that evening Spears had her infamous breakdown where she snuck out of rehab and shaved her head. News media coverage the next day didn't even mention that Al-Qaeda reformation or anything Bush said. It was just all about covering the Britney Spears meltdown. In May 2007, the Attorney General at the time admits that the firing of 8 U.S. attorneys was based solely on the fact that he thought they weren't loyal enough to Bush. Right before giving this address to the news media, a story was leaked to the media stations about Britney Spears having a relationship with some B-list musician who was also at rehab at the time she was. In her cameo in the movie Fahrenheit 9/11, Spears gushes about her love for the president and her support for everything he does. She says we need to trust his instincts about going to war. It's also been found out that Spears did have a few short-lived relationships with a couple Bush administration staffers. So the next one's just really short. It's about Keith Richards. And it's completely theory. It's just a rumor. I'm sure it's not true, but it's interesting to think about. So it's rumored online that the reason he's the age he is right now, I'll insert it on the screen, and is still healthy and playing shows and everything is because once a year he goes to Switzerland and has a blood transfusion where he's given a young, healthy person's blood. And what's weird, though, about this is it came out actually last year that this is a thing, that young people's blood can actually be given to older people to, like, help them live longer and be healthier. But I think this all stemmed from, I think it was actually known that he did go to Switzerland to get a blood transfusion because he was so addicted to heroin that he needed, like, new blood or something like that. So that might be where this stemmed from. But I also heard, I gotta give credit to Bunny, Graveyard Girl. She mentioned something about this, and so I looked into it, and yeah, it's just pretty crazy to think about. And he is, doing pretty well for a man of his age. So the next one, sadly, I hate talking about this, but we have to, and it's just interesting to think about, is Princess Diana. So Princess Diana was sadly killed in a car crash on August 31st, 1997. Her driver, bodyguard, boyfriend, and herself were driving through a tunnel in France when they crashed into another car. Diana, her BF Dodi, her boyfriend Dodi, and the driver all died that night. Her bodyguard was the only survivor. Diana's boyfriend Dodi was Muslim, which the royal family had admitted that they were really unhappy about. Her relationship with Dodi was a very hot topic, so they were constantly followed around by paparazzi, like 24/7, just always on them. That night they had a fake car posing as their car to, like, distract the paparazzi, but it said that somehow the paps, is that what they say? Paparazzi? The paps found out about the fake car and found out which one was real, and that a paparazzi worker tried cutting off the real car, and that's why they crashed. There was only a few eyewitnesses, and also her bodyguard, who has stated that this is literally the only thing he remembers, that he doesn't remember anything else from that night, say they saw a massive blinding flash of light right before the crash, and officials think that this is what disoriented the driver and caused the crash. So a cop that actually pulled Princess Di out of the car said that in this heartbreaking interview, which I'll try and insert some footage, said that he performed CPR on the princess and she was actually alive. Actually, after he did this, he says he remembered thinking to himself, "Thank God I saved her life. She's alive." Yet apparently she died when she was at the hospital. Some reports even say that she was dead on arrival, which this cop believes wholeheartedly that he had saved her life, that she was still alive when she left for the hospital.
Le médecin a détecté qu'elle était en arrêt cardiaque, donc on l'a massée, l'équipe l'a massée, et au bout d'une vingtaine de secondes, elle a repris conscience, enfin elle a repris une circulation, elle n'a pas repris conscience, elle a repris une circulation, ce qui a permis son...
So France has more CCTV cameras per block than any other city in the UK. There were 6+ cameras known of in that tunnel that night, but none of them caught the crash. There's only footage of after the crash happened, which is weird. It took 30 minutes for the ambulance to arrive and over an hour for them to reach the hospital that was only 20 minutes away. Diana's body was embalmed at the hospital, which is completely illegal in France, only an hour after she was pronounced dead. It's rumored that she was pregnant, so people think maybe that she was embalmed. That way they weren't able to do an autopsy and find out that she was pregnant, or possibly how she actually died. People think maybe the royal, and this is again just a theory, people think that maybe the royal family had something to do with it. They definitely didn't want a Muslim as the prince's stepfather, and I'm sure they definitely didn't want a Muslim baby born out of wedlock into the family. So people think that maybe they had something to do with it and they put out a hit on her or something of the sorts. Even though she and Prince Charles were divorced, she still had her royal title as princess. But people think also maybe that they had just meant to get rid of Dodi, because that night it was supposed to be just Dodi in that car going to an event, and last minute Princess Diana decided to go with him. So just something to think about. So my last one really quick is Lady Gaga. So this one's crazy, again just a theory, but you might have heard about it. It's kind of circulating on the internet a lot, but there's a few theories with this, but they all lead to Lady Gaga having something to do with the death of her friend Lina Morgana. Lady Gaga, who at the time still went by her real name, Stephanie Germanotta, and her friend Lina Morgana had been both pursuing singing careers. They both performed in bars and open mic nights together as a duo, and then they also performed separately some nights. Lina Morgana was extremely creative and known between the two as the wild, more extravagant one. She began wearing outrageous costumes, singing really outrageous songs, and started this persona for herself, very much like the persona we know Lady Gaga to have today. While performing solo one night, Lina Morgana was approached by someone from Sony Records. She was signed to the label and began working on her debut album. And you can actually find some of her songs from that album on YouTube. I'll try and insert a clip. Sadly though, at only 19 years old, before the album could be finished, Lina Morgana died unexpectedly on October 4th, 2008 due to an apparent suicide by jumping from a 10-story hotel room balcony. It was only 2 weeks after Morgana's death that Lady Gaga was also signed to Sony Records and pushed out into the public and became this overnight sensation that we know now. Lina Morgana's mother has stated multiple times that she thinks there's a conspiracy behind her daughter's death, and that Lady Gaga had actually stolen Lina's likeness and persona. Again, this is all theory. I'm no way saying this is true, but it's theorized that Lady Gaga possibly had something to do with Lina's death. Maybe blinded by jealousy and hungry for fame, she may have given her good friend as possibly a sacrifice to the Illuminati, which I know sounds weird, but look into it. It does seem kind of true with the whole Illuminati thing. In order to steal her style and gain her fame. Or something like that. Maybe she put a hit on her or something. where am I? It's been stated that deep in the dark depths of Hollywood, or with the Illuminati, that celebs are forced to give some kind of sacrifice, which sounds weird, but if you really look up how many celebrities became famous just recently after one of their loved ones passed. It's really weird. It goes in even deeper if you really look into it, of like people making deals with the devil. So if you guys want me to do a video on like the Illuminati and people selling their souls kind of thing, I've done a ton of research in it and I find it very interesting and also kind of creepy. So give me a thumbs up on this video, or let me know in the comments if you'd like a video just on that. So another thing, this last little bit of evidence, I guess you could say, that people theorize as evidence to this theory, is that Gaga actually recreated how Lena Morgana died in her paparazzi music video, where in her music video she's actually pushed off of a balcony. Again, these are all theories. Just find it interesting. If you do like this video, let me know. Give this video a thumbs up and I could do a part 2, part 3. There's so many conspiracy theories on celebrities. I think my next one, though, I'll actually do like TV show conspiracies and stuff like that. Kind of make this series. If you guys do like it, I really hope so. I love making these videos. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day. Again, give me a thumbs up if you like this. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when my next video comes out, hopefully soon. And until then, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next one.